tonight. This has been an endeavor that it goes without say that we're all suffering. And this group of people that I cannot have enough respect for has undertaken and volunteered to do this task on all our behalves. And it's not just Miami Lakes, it's all surrounding areas. I can't thank them enough. But with that, as you can see by the empty chairs, the invites went out in December 8th to attend this evening. We had via snail mail, sign layers by the mayor went out to each company, each local location of theirs, and each corporate office, and addressed to the person in charge of each. We also then had it delivered, hand delivered through a contact that I have to each mine the following week. So they received it no less than 3 times. Okay, that's the response. It's unfortunate. We've been stating and we've been saying ad nauseum stating, we're not here to shut anybody down. We're here to coexist. They do provide an asset for all of us. We enjoy our homes. We enjoy the roads that we drive on. We enjoy our livelihoods, and it's dependent on the aggregate that they're extracting. But we cannot be considered to be collateral damage. Basically, is what we've become to their profits. And the fact is, not all companies are acting this way. There are only a few. Nonetheless, we invited them all. Let them discuss amongst themselves what one is doing properly and what it's not, the other is doing that is affecting us. And let's come to a middle ground. That is our intent. Again, and I repeat, since I know we're being watched, it's not candid camera. We're on the air now. We are not to shut anybody down. We want to work together and find an equitable solution for everybody to coexist. We need each other. Without us, they don't have their business because there's nobody to sell to. It's our homes, our roads that we use. It comes from us when you think about it. So I want to introduce the companies. There are 5 mining operations in Dade County. It's CEMEX, CEMEX Construction Materials, Florida Rock, also known as Vulcan. Vulcan, by the way, is a national company. They're one of the largest in the country. SDI Aggregates, Titan, and Florida Rock. So how we got here, I wanted to share with you guys the journey that we have been going through, because it's been extensive, and we keep getting feedback from not so nice feedback that nothing's happening, nothing's going on. We've been accused of partying, quote unquote, in Tallahassee while we're lobbying. And it's an experience. Obviously, this issue has never been to where it is today. And we are here today because of the efforts of my colleagues here. When we went to Tallahassee last year, a common thread that was shared to all of us, and I asked, there are attorneys in the group, and I don't know, I'm not an attorney myself. Is it something in their training? Because it was verbatim, the legislators, what they repeated one to the next. And it was, have you had a sit down with the miners? Have a sit down and discuss. In court system, it's called disclosure, where you lay out your evidence so that the opposing party knows where you stand and vice versa. I said, no, it just hasn't happened. Well, we're doing it. Here we are. We sent out the invites civilly, and this is what we have to show for it. We are not the enemy. So again, I received contact information of the local offices, who's in charge of the office, and corporate office, and who's in charge of that office. And all the invites were sent to there. We penned a letter, and it was issued and signed by Mayor Manny Sid. And I'd like to read you, have the letter read to you guys so you can understand our stance on things. And this is what was sent.
So here's the invite that was sent to the mining operations from the mayor's office. To it may concern the town of Miami Lakes, on behalf of the office of the mayor, town council, and Miami Lakes Blasting Advisory Board, would like to extend an invite to your organization to a roundtable discussion regarding the effects of mine blasting in Miami-Dade County. The Blasting Advisory Board is scheduling a discussion which will be open to the public, where the board will be inviting government officials and elected officials from the region to discuss their position and ideas regarding rock mine blasting in Miami-Dade County. The discussion is scheduled to take place on January 19th, 2023 at 7 p.m. Now, the board and the town believe it would benefit all those involved to have your attendance and a seat at the table to discuss rock mine blasting and specifically the effects that blasting has on our buildings and homes. Additionally, we intend to discuss what measures can be taken or what you may be doing already to lessen those impacts on our properties. It is important to understand that the town and the advisory board are aware of the importance of the product that your mine creates to our local and regional economy. We are not seeking in any way to stop that important work altogether. However, we are seeking resolutions to work and live in a cohesive fashion. We hope that this discussion can improve dialogue between all involved, increase awareness as to the measures that can be taken to lessen the impact that rock mine blasting has on our properties and homes, and educate the public on this issue. I look forward to your attendance at this meeting and your insight on this matter to our town. Please contact my office for any questions, and signed by Mayor Manny Sid. And this is their response to that invite.
Thank you. As advised by the state, there are two companies, as I mentioned, that are working below trigger limits. That is to say, the equipment, monitoring equipment, the seismographs don't pick them up. They don't detect them at all. So these companies are obviously profitable. They've been in business for many years. They do what the claims of the industry states, that they're an asset to the community. They provide the much needed aggregate. They do provide jobs, all the pluses, and they don't bother their neighbors. I wanted to personally thank them. It's Vulcan and Titan America. You may have seen, or Titan Florida, you may have seen their companies and their trucks and whatnot. I will thank them, and I personally thank them in doing so. Titan never responded I then called when we didn't get a response from the miners with the letter from the mayor. I then called these two companies to personally invite them. Titan never responded. Vulcan then, I spoke to a representative. Vulcan didn't respond. Titan did accept. They then rescinded their invitation. Personally, as a business owner, I think positive exposure as we're giving, I think is fantastic. And I don't see why they would not want to attend. You can answer your own questions because I don't know it. I would like to refer now, if we could put on the slide, please. The mining industry, the companies have an organization together, and it's for the Dade County, and it's called the Miami-Dade Limestone Product Association. In that, on their first page, you will see where in bold it says our industry supports over 10,000 Florida jobs and sets $544 million in wages of South Floridian workers and businesses. The Miami-Dade Limestone Product Association is committed to an open dialogue in the community we serve, working with community leaders and addressing the economic and environmental and quality of life issues that affect us all. You can answer that if you agree with that statement. So I want to reiterate why we're here. We're not the enemies. We are the victims. We are the collateral damage to these companies' profits. This cannot be tolerated any longer. Now, a few things have come to my enlightenment, if you will, is a process called debonding. Now, we're all familiar with Surfside and the catastrophe of Surfside. This is, and this information that I was able to confirm, it will come out in a report soon of Surfside, and it is affecting us similarly. It's a process called debonding. You can look it up. And debonding, if we know anybody here in construction, know of construction? All right, we all know that our homes here are built with concrete block. It's reinforced masonry construction is what it's called. It's under the Florida Building Code, and it's designed to withstand lateral loading. Lateral loading is wind, so the wind pushing against the wall of the house. The structure of the construction of that structure is masonry wall, concrete with steel. There's a steel rebar reinforcing that concrete. There's a bond between the two dissimilar materials, concrete and steel, that hold it together. this code, our Florida building code, is based on the structural integrity of that unit, of that system. The thing called debonding is every object that exists in the world, every object has its own natural frequency. It's a vibration. Everything does, if we remember physics class and chemistry for that matter. But if we introduce energy to an object, that frequency gets excited and begins vibrating even more. So when we have dissimilar objects that are bound together and we begin vibrating them, they will separate. So you guys have seen your tiles popping. You've seen windows breaking. This is the process of what's happening. It's science and it's known. It's being ignored and it's known. In Surfside, a report will be soon divulged, or not divulged, but shared, if you will. It's from another country, from the Philippines, and the energy produced by the pile driving from the adjacent building, it is suspected that it's a component of the building failure, of the building collapse of Surfside. The reality is, and I provided the engineering firm the federal study here from the US, that the pile driving generates energy. It generates an energy wave. It's 40,000 pounds per blow of the hammer downwards and 10,000 pounds lateral that it creates. I gave this gentleman the study, and he applied the numbers to a computer model. He then recreated a structural model of Surfside and placed it on what's called a shake table. Now, understand the energy waves. We all seen, like, when you throw a pebble in a lake and these ripples go across the lake, those energy waves, it's kind of like an S curve. It's called a sine curve. That sine curve has different components, X, Y, and Z. Remember the graphing paper, the Z that raises. Well, what happened on Surfside, and this gentleman was able to prove it on his theory, is that as that Z component raised, it took the columns and pushed the columns vertical. It then ripped the rebar out of the slab, holding it. The slabs then cascaded down. It's called pancaking. If you look at the pictures of Surfside, you will see, especially this one picture in the parking garage where the parking deck, second floor, is on top of the first deck. You can't tell, but the column is between floors. And if you look closely where the paint is different, you will see that the rebars are just hanging. That's a sheer force. If you guys go to a parking garage, you will look at the columns, look on the roof deck or the floor deck, you will see a thickened part of concrete, and it's to prevent this action. It's a known phenomenon. It's a known action. So in Surfside, the debonding of these rebars is what caused the collapse, and the building fell. So I asked him, I said, what about us? What about us? Our construction techniques, we need to understand, we are not Surfside. We are not on piles. It's a different construction method altogether, but the phenomenon is happening. So do we have debonding? And I was able to send him seismic data from monitoring machines, and he tested it. And he says, by the amount of hits that you are receiving and the length of time, years that we're receiving this, yes, you have debonding. If we're having debonding, we no longer have reinforced masonry, reinforced concrete. We have concrete and steel. What is the lessening of that structural integrity is yet to be determined. We need to study that. But that will predicate how much degradation of force that we are built on from the Florida building code are we actually lost that our structures will accommodate. So what scares all of us cumulatively, it's not that our house will collapse just by looking at it and, simple thing. No, but it's designed to withstand a hurricane force wind. So what is now with will it hold? It is being lessened. It is being reduced, the capacity and structural integrity of our structure, of our homes and buildings. Until when? Until what? At this point, we don't know. That study needs to happen. So the significance of what we're doing and the work that we're doing on everybody's behalf. Now you know. Now you know what keeps me up at night. It's not good. However, what has been accomplished, which is what we need to disseminate to the public, because there are many things that happen, if you will, behind the curtain, the political curtain, if you will, happens in Tallahassee or at the local level. And I have found that they don't even advertise the advancements that have been done, and they're astonishing. And through our support, so our community support, things are happening. And the biggest thing that's occurring, it's called the Miami-Dade Pilot Program. Now, the CFO, the State Fire Marshal's office, is responsible at the state level for regulating blasting. And they created this Miami-Dade Pilot Program, or they were enacted to create this Miami-Dade Pilot Program. And they would put an RFP out, and they hired a company, an engineering company. This engineering company was then awarded the contract for 36 months at $1 million a year of our tax dollars to study and create official data of the energy wave that's being produced. Because the first thing to do any proper regulation is to get official data. Anything else is hearsay or doubtful, even if it's accurate. People won't believe it. This stuff is accurate. So they had a contract for 25 seismographs. We assisted them in locating places throughout the county to install them. 14 of the 25 were actually installed in our area, and it's based on the amount of complaints that the public has given the state. The rest is spread out through the county and in Broward County. Of the 25 that were under contract, they only installed 23 or 22, I believe it is. The difference in value of that, the CFO's office said, don't give me more machines, give me more data, because the machines are capable of recording even more data than just what's required by law. The PPP value. We're all hear the peak particle velocity, which is the measurement which is used to measure the intensity of these blasts. So there's a lot of other data that now are being accounted for and collected. And that data will then need to be analyzed and to be properly disseminated to find the proper solutions for all, including, if need be, modifying the Florida Building Code or proper regulation for this entity or this organization. Which report?
Their reports, our community reports.
The complaints.
Yeah,
That's what we're getting into. So the data that's collected in that program, it starts with community involvement. We need the community to file complaints. The complaints are official. This program was established maybe 6-7 months ago, and they have over 2,000 official complaints from our area alone. The website will have a map. The website's not live yet, but they have sent me screenshots I had shared previously. And in the map, you will be able to locate your location, your house, if you will, whatever you filed the complaint, pick it, and it will link you dynamically to the location of the blast and give you all the corresponding data for the blast. So it's invaluable, this information, to be able to obtain it. It's invaluable in that the information has never been acquired before and intentionally been ignored. Now, one of our colleagues here has done the favor to all of us in that, because the website to get to is kind of difficult. Yeah, let's see if this works here. No, can we get the next slide, please? There we go. So you can scan it. We created a QR code to get you to the complaint page.
Also on here.
It's also on the bottom of the flyers that are collected outside on both sides. It's significant. This is the biggest connection that you guys can assist in at the ground level, tires on the pavement, to get data to the state. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. If you look on the map, I know it's hard to see because it's small, but you could see triangles and circles, and you'll see triangles in the Miramar side, and they're monitoring the Dade County blast. And it's anybody that feels the blast. If you feel it, so does your structure. So as soon as you feel it, click on the link. And it's a simple form. It's not a big deal. It's very simple. It has the time. You put the time, but on the bottom, what is significant, what's very important on the bottom is a comment section, and place in there specific to what you felt, and be specific. Don't just say, this is the end of the world, my God. No, it's not like that. my window just shattered, my plant fell off the shelf. It shows that it's not subjective, it's objective that this happened. Yes, sir. Yes. Okay, well, if you give us a few minutes and we're gonna get into questions and answers. Again, this is Plan B, Plan C. For that? Yes. Okay, but sure. You're saying this though, but there are two companies that nobody feels it, not even the equipment can detect it. Would you be bothered by those companies? There are two companies in Dade County right now that the monitoring equipment can't even detect their blast, that it's so small. Would you be bothered by that? You don't feel it at all. There you go. So there you have it. And that's the key. When we say you have to stop what you're doing, then that's a resistance. Absolutely correct. Absolutely, absolutely. That's why we're here. The question is, how do we do this? So, and that's what we're trying to do. Right. Oh, absolutely. Yes. Yes and no. Yes. All right. Let me finish, sir. Thank you. So this has been going on for many years, and the Lake Belt, which is the region where they blast, was approved in the late 70s. So yes, and blasting has been going on in Florida since 1914. Yes, it's been a long time. The difference is our region. Our region is we're on the Biscayne Aquifer, and the water that we're standing on carries the energy wave. Okay. Right. They're aware of it. That's why there's no mention of it.
I think we gotta finish this and go.
So now, getting back to your points of nothing's happening. And as I said, there is quite a bit happening. The big thing is that website that I mentioned to you with the complaints, that we need the public assistance with it. To date, they don't even have marketing for that at the state level. So what's in there is what we have done, our efforts, and over 2,000 complaints have been already submitted. It's quite extensive. The DOA, Department of Administrative Hearings, if you were to file a complaint against the miners, you have to go through file through DOA. Except one of the genius things that they did, I'll give credit where credit is due, is you have to go to Tallahassee to file your complaint. So that they begin limiting, your ability to do anything. And this past year, through legislation, we were able to get DOA open in local office here in Miami-Dade County. Okay, so it's small, but it's a chip, and this is how it works.
So one of the things when I was growing up, they used to call my generation the microwave generation. Our generation was used to instant gratification. Sorry, this is not an instant gratification issue. You're going against one of the largest industries in our state, one of the most well-funded industries in this state. You're not going to win overnight. It is absolutely not a sprint. It is a marathon. We're gonna have questions and answers, sir, in a moment. But if we can get through this part, just so that we can provide the information, and maybe we answer your question before you ask it. If I can actually mention one of the other accomplishments that we've had is last year we went and met with countless legislators regarding this issue. Many of them were learning about it for the first time. Many of them knew about it and really had chosen to do nothing about it, but they got to learn about the effects. They hadn't heard the voice of the victim before. They knew what was going on, but they hadn't heard it from us before. This year, Representative Fabricio has introduced a bill into the House that limits the intensity of the blast. Senator Avila has introduced a corresponding bill in the Senate. It's the same bill, just on the Senate side. One of the most important things that we kept hearing consistently last year from all of these representatives is, hey, well, sitting down with them. Well, we said truthfully, no, we didn't think that they'd be interested. So this year we're having this meeting so that when we go back, we can say, yes, absolutely. We tried to sit with them and we were met with empty chairs. And, you know, I read the letter. I understand the letter, and we'll get into the letter in more detail in a moment, I'm sure. But I will say that I think it's something that they're hanging their hat on at this time, because I don't believe that they were actually afraid that this wasn't going to be a civil conversation, because everyone on this committee has been committed to a civil conversation from the beginning. If you go back into the town's website and you watch our meetings, like our more intimate meetings, which obviously everyone is always welcome to, but you know, for busy life schedules and everything, you guys, we don't get as much attendance. We're always talking about the importance of the mine industry and how we need to work with them, not against them, and to come to an amicable resolution. So this year, one of the things that's also different is that Representative Fabricio actually requested a hearing, right, at the committee level. If we are able to get a hearing on this bill, that alone is more progress than has probably been done in the last 15 to 20 years. Actually, it was probably ever. Even if it doesn't pass committee, that alone is a milestone achievement. But I have a feeling, because many of these representatives have to go back to their districts, they have to go back to their constituents and explain the decisions that they rendered. I feel that if this does end up before a public hearing, not a private meeting in their office, but a public hearing, that many of them are going to be in favor, because what we're asking for is not extreme. What we are asking for is to not have our largest investments in most of our lives destroyed. And we're not asking to shut them down. We're not asking for anything other than to limit it. And even then, the limitation is limited. It only applies to mines that are what, within a mile from these from residential properties. If you're 3 miles away from residential properties, blast away. Doesn't affect anyone. But if you're a mile away, you have to coexist with your neighbors. And I keep saying it because they like to argue that they've been here longer. Unfortunately, if anyone hears from PSN, you may beg to differ. There's been houses here since the 60s and earlier that have been here longer than the mines. And even if that were true, even if no houses existed prior to the mines, you don't get to keep throwing garbage over your property line just because you were there before your neighbor. You don't, you know, there are rules that apply and how we conduct civilized society, and coexisting is one of them. So that being said, you know, the biggest purpose for this meeting is number one, obviously having a productive discussion with them. We were legitimately interested in having a conversation with the mines who are blasting below limits. We wanted to pick their brains. How are you blasting at lower limits and still staying profitable? Are you coordinating the blast in a certain way that mitigates the energy wave so that it doesn't affect people as much? Unfortunately, they're not here. And as for the larger ones, we wanted to just let them know, like, listen, we get it. You're important, but we are too. And that's the primary focus of this meeting. The secondary is for us to be able to return to Tallahassee and actually let them know we did try to meet.
I want to say something. In addition to the miners, we invited the surrounding municipalities one of them being Miramar. I've attended those meetings when you had a board. And I don't see anyone here
That's the chair of the,
from Miramar.
yes,
Thank you for being here.
we have.
Oh, we used to have name things. I guess we don't have them no more. No,
cut it
he's
from the
he's
budget.
not. And then I'd like to, I don't see our local representatives here. I don't see some of the state reps here. I'm only,
Mayor's office.
okay, but let's quantify how many are here. And I do appreciate seeing our town manager, Councilwoman Rano, and our former blasting advisory board member, now Councilman, Mr. Garcia. So, I think we're missing some of our own from our own council. And I kind of take that personal. I mean, I think they should all be here. This is an issue that involves all of us. And I just wanted to bring that up.
Hi there. My name's Patricia Lara. I'm currently the vice chairperson for the City of Miramar Advisory Board. And that advisory board was created by our Mayor Mesem. And it was created prior to the Miami Lakes Advisory Board even being created. He did that because we in the City of Miramar were feeling the effects. Why this impacts me so much and why I volunteered immediately is because I grew up in PSN. My parents bought a house in the early 60s. And I was dealing with this issue when I was a child. So imagine when I go and I buy my first house as an adult in the city of Miramar in Broward County, thinking, oh, I'm not going to ever have to deal with this blasting issue again. Wrong. 2 days after closing on my home in the community of Nautica and West Miramar, I felt the first blast. So imagine moving to a separate county and I couldn't even get away with something that I was dealing with since childhood. So this cause is very personal to me. This is why I volunteered to be on our board. And this is why I appreciate there are City of Miramar residents. There are City of Miramar residents all over that are dealing with this. Our advisory board has 7 members. Okay, we currently are going to swear in a few more because people get on the board for a little while and then they, slowly go off. But we're continuing to fight this. And we also have lots of monitors being placed in our areas and we have studies being done as well. Thank you.
Yeah.
Is it on?
Okay. Good evening, everyone. I am here actually representing Mayor Wayne Messam from the city of Miramar. He is unfortunately traveling today because he is attending a conference in Washington, D.C., but obviously we are familiar with everything that everyone is speaking about, and I thank you for being here as well. So we are here representing the city of Miramar. Thank you.
So I just want to add something is that when we're in our trip for Tallahassee and how important this is, with some of the representatives were aware and even knew about the emails that some people send. This is critical to get change, because we need the data. But the important part is that not only that you do, but that you tell people to do it and then people to do it. Because the more complaints and more data we can go, or our representative Fabricio can have and show, look at the tens of thousands of people that are reporting these blasts. They're feeling these blasts. This isn't just 5 people that keep emailing all the representatives. Thousands of people are feeling the blast. This is the most critical thing that the general public can do to actually get change. And it's important that everyone here takes this and make sure that their friends and family are aware about this too, because we need to show the proof of who's feeling this and where they're feeling it. And this new pilot program will show both the comments and where and how extensive it can be. It's not just Miami Lakes, not just Miramar, it's municipalities, even as far as Miami Gardens. And it's important that we have that map and have that data to show to the representatives in Tallahassee.
My name is Robert Sosa. And I'm noticing that it says this falls under the umbrella of the fire marshals. But it looks to me like more like an EPA problem. Why the fire marshals are involved with this rather than the Environmental Protected Agency? Ready? Oh, that's it? No, it's me. Need some humor, because if not, it's gonna get very, very upsetting, I think, at times. It's a shame that the miners didn't show up. But other municipalities are suffering. Miguel and I, not too long ago, did a video presentation in Doral. Doral is a new city mayor, Christy Fraga, and she expressed her concerns. The new area of Doral, I think it's Doral City Place or one of the new areas, is almost decimated by what's going on. It's incredible. Not even 2 years old, and they're suffering from this. It's amazing. She couldn't be here. She's in Orlando. She had another meeting. But I want to leave you with something very important. I think this is the key question. As an attorney, I try to always narrow it down. And I tell my fellow associates and colleagues the same thing. And here's the fundamental question that I want you also to take home and think about it. Give us feedback. We'll give you feedback as to what we think, and we've discussed it pretty much. Here's the key fundamental question. What would it take for us? When I mean us, I mean the miners, ourselves and the board, or the citizens being affected by this, to coexist, like my colleague Brian just mentioned, to reduce the effects of blasting in our homes. Period. We're not asking to destroy any industries. We're not asking to take people's jobs. We're not asking to do anything outrageous or outlandish. We're here because we're being affected. Our homes, our lifestyles, our quality of life is being affected. So what would it take? Is it money? Is it more advertising? Is it more involvement? What would it take? Some of the miners are doing it. They're mining below the limits. We don't even feel it. So what would it take? What would it take for us to coexist together? That's what the representatives tell us for us to do. What's the barrier? What's the, yes, sir. I'm just bringing it up. I'm just bringing it up as one. No, that's why I'm asking. That's why I'm asking it. Exactly. It could be that, but they're not here. Here's the living proof. There's the living proof. Sure, there's a living proof. Let me pass it on to my.
Sorry, let me answer the gentleman's question. Why the CFO? The answer is it actually wasn't always like that. It used to be run at the county level. And to a degree still is. There are still laws on the books. But the general reason why is because we're not talking about anything other than a blast. It is explosives. That is why it ends up in that jurisdiction. I'm sure he can give you a more technical answer, but realistically, whoever you put it at the state level, it's going to be the same passage to get to the end result.
There's one thing you need to understand. The CFO, the chief financial officer, is the state fire marshal. It's the two positions is the same person. So the term is used interchangeably. So your question as far as why the CFO, because he is the state fire marshal. It's the environmental issue is also taken up, but the issue is of the blasting of explosives. So that's why it falls under fire. Correct. No, absolutely. Absolutely. And they get clearance from the Army Corps of Engineers. And as a matter of fact, if you go to White Rock's quarry, You can see it off 575. If you look on the west side of the quarry, you're going to see a little island in the middle of the lake. Do you know what that island is? It's an ancient Indian burial ground that they found actual artifacts and were forced to respect it. Are you going to tell me that that's not touched with the vibrations that they're experiencing? So that is what's there. So yes, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Hi, my name is Tom Delgado. I'm a resident of Spanish Lakes, one of the surrounding areas to Miami Lakes. To circle back to the importance of filling out the complaints, I was looking at the website and I'm seeing a couple of them as the complaint number being inaccurate complaint data provided. What constitute that so that we make sure that we're making these complaints, it's not going to get put as inaccurate data?
If you look at the, there's the website link that is shown there is the actual form. There is another website that it takes you to the actual results is what you're referring to. If on there are some complaints that people have filed, let's say at 11 o'clock at night, and they're not calling out that this is referring to a blast that happened at 10:45, they'll disregard that complaint. And this is why it's critical that on the comment section, you're specific of what you felt, when you felt, specific to that occurrence. If it is not, and they feel that you're not tying into a specific blast, they will void that complaint. It's a good question.
And date, is there anything else that you would suggest or recommend for us to put in the complaint?
The time and date of the blast is auto-populated. However, like that person, I mean, at least the one I saw recently, that's why I referred to that one. It was at 10 o'clock at night is the timestamp on it. I've been advised that you can edit that time, but nonetheless, if you can't on the memo, put the time part on it. This occurred today. I was at work. I couldn't complain. I couldn't file a complaint, but this happened. I came home and my tiles are shattered and the blast happened at whatever time.
And Miguel never actually got to saying what I did. He almost did. What I did was I purchased a domain on the internet. It's blastingreport.com. It is not its own website. It is nothing more than a forwarding domain. So when you enter blastingreport.com onto the internet, it takes you to that website. And the reason I did it is because of what Miguel was just explaining. There's a certain timing aspect to this where you need to get it done that same day at a very minimum. And for that reason, I don't want you to lose this QR code or memorize the link. When you feel the blast, blastingreport.com, go in, do it right then and there before you forget. So that's the reason I did that. Blastingreport.com, blastingreport.com, blastingreport.com.
It's per blast. You feel it, put a complaint in. Oh, every time you feel the blast. Yes. There's twice in a day they have. Yes. Now, just to wrap this up, wrap my portion up, the significance of what we're talking about and filing these complaints, the CFO's office, the department that's doing the Miami-Dade pilot program, will be making recommendations for legislation to approve, review and approve. If they do not, remember, these guys know what they're doing. They know what this is about, the program. Then they're going to establish a best policies practice for the miners. They're going to dictate what you got to do, and that's it. So it is imperative that we continue to support this site and provide the data that they need to show that we have a problem. So, say it again. We've been advised that it has proper values have not. And what I've seen in my own home, my value has gone through the roof. Not to, but okay. You want? Oh, go ahead. You have the mic. Yeah. Right, we need you to speak on the mic. So go ahead.
Everybody will have a chance. Hopefully.
My name is Irene Torola Garcia. A lot of you know me, a lot of you don't. A lot of you know my politics as well. I want to thank the entire board for everything you have done. I know the amount of work that Miguel has put into this, along with all the work that a lot of us have put into it. As far as the website is concerned, when you go in there, you can physically change the time. I was driving here and I did it myself. I filed the claim getting here for today at 12:30 and I filed it. Now, when we get into the politics of a lot of the stuff that's happening, some people are sometimes shunned. Some people can be overlooked or not as, what's the word? Some people aren't appreciated, and it goes vice versa. I just want to let you all know that I appreciate everything that you have done. I do think that we need to also keep the correct information as far as legislation that has been attempted to pass, because I know that Fabricio attempted to pass this bill the year before, and he was never even, he never even had a hearing because his subcommittee chair, whatnot, it's a huge story. It goes to the entire effect of how legislation gets done in the state. So my biggest issue is with, as far as all of us getting along, we're all here together and we're all supposed to be trying to resolve the issue for each other. So I just think that, you know, we all need to appreciate those that we have that are working on it and appreciate those that you don't see.
Everybody, yes. And for the record, this is the third time Rep Fabricio has submitted an iteration of this bill or this actual bill.
My name is Martha Gonzalez and I'm listening here. I've been sending complaints all the time. And as you people were talking, I have here one and it was answered. Her name is Jessica Hall. And her title is Miami-Dade Construction Mining Pilot Program, Geotechnical Engineer, Bureau of Fire Prevention. They answer me and they send me a chart with the different times. And, you know, I told them this was back in August. I have many of them, but they send me a chart. If you want, I can email you, Miguel. And they say that they have monitors. Whether it's accurate, I don't know. But this is what they send. And believe me, if we write, they will answer. And I'm sure that if we don't do it, some of them won't even care or know what's going on. So please follow the rules. Thank you very much for doing all this for us. And if you want, I have many, many answers from different people from there. If they're gonna do anything, I don't know, but thank you.
Gentlemen. Right, gentlemen.
Thanks. Good evening. My name's Abel Fernandez, and I wanted to answer the gentleman that asked about why the CFO and the state fire marshal. Correct? I'm a retired battalion chief, and I want to recognize our town manager, Ed Peterman, over there. Thank you for being here, Mr. Manager. I always call him chief because that's the higher rank for us. He was an assistant chief with the city of Miami Fire Rescue. Smaller department than our Miami-Dade County, but still a good department. But I'm retired, so I like to talk about that. It's all about licensing. Remember, the State Fire Marshal's Office license for fire protection equipment, fire engineering equipment, sparklers, and explosives. At one time, Miami-Dade County had complete governance regarding the explosives and the amount used here under our home rule charter. I go back to those of you who may remember Commissioner Natasha Cejas, that was our county commissioner in this area. She was very involved with the mining, and they had control, and she was monitoring it and keeping the levels. We hear about peak particle velocity, right? And we hear about the amount of 0.5 and how as long as they go up to that limit, it's okay. Miami-Dade County, we had 0.20. I'm telling you firsthand. So that was taken away from Miami-Dade County and given to the state by the powerful mining associations. And how do they do that? They elect your politicians. You don't elect your politicians. You think you elect your politicians when you go to the voting booth, but you don't, because they have money and they contribute money through something called political action committees. This is what is also called dirty money or dark money. And that money, right, is funneled to these politicians. So I look around here and I want to talk to you about why I think there's a different way to handle this. And I respect Miguel, I respect this board here. But I was involved in this for many, many years, and I stepped back because of many other issues. First, I'd like to thank Councilwoman Marilyn Ruano, the young lady in the corner there. She's the one that took this to heart. We met at Veterans Park 6 years ago, and Miguel was one of the folks there with us at the beginning. There was only like Claudia Luces, well, there was only 5 of us when we put this meeting out, and we talked about this. We knew that the answer was to change this, since they took it away from Miami-Dade County, was at the state CFO's office. So forget about all of this monitoring. It's a 3-year pilot program. You know what that means? They're going to be done with that lake within 3 years. They're going to be done with that lake within a year. Just look at how fast they're moving on it. What is happening is Jimmy Patronis, the state CFO, has the power right now to lower the blasting limits, but he won't do it. He will not do it. He was reelected. That's the way it falls. That's the way it is. I'm not taking away from what they're doing. I really admire their fortitude, because I have a lot of 4-letter words I would like to tell the politicians that they won't. But I recognize who are important for us here. And we are lucky to have representatives that look after us. Bills are going to be filed as they were by Representative Fabricio and State Senator Brian Avila. They're going to fail. They're not going to go anywhere. I can go back and show you, I pulled all of the bill tracking for years and years and how they all die in committee. Doesn't matter. These guys and girls, because we had women representing us. We had Cindy Polo. She tried, and it dropped. It dropped on deaf ears. The only way you're going to change this is Miami-Dade County. There's somebody here representing our district commissioner, Senator Garcia. Someone here was here earlier. They were here, they're gone. That's a big indication to me. Local government is more important than the state government. County manager, county mayor's office. Okay. But the county mayor, strong mayor, Daniela Levin Cava, still has to cooperate with the council member, the Board of County Commissioners. I did send a text out to the Honorable Mayor, Daniela Levin Cava, about that. So I'm glad you're here. Thank you. Senator Garcia should have been here tonight. I'll say it again. Senator Garcia should have been here tonight, or his representative. Okay, and they're gone. That's like folks that go to the Dolphins game and they leave after the first quarter. That's, you know. So the bottom line is, the only way that this is going to change is Miami-Dade County, who through the fire department still can control the amount of explosives used, not the licensing of explosives, but the amount. So the power is in within Miami-Dade County. I say that because on a daily basis, all of you know that your homes vibrate, they shake tremendously. You have leaks in your piping, leaks on the walls, on the roof, cracks in your pools, cracks in your driveways, and it's unnerving. And especially if you have, special need children, it's very unnerving. With that said, the power, and I'm hoping that our town council, which is our lowest level, can suggest highly to our commissioner for this area to bring this before the county commission. because that's where the power lies. And Miami-Dade Fire Rescue can play an important part of this, but we have to get them involved. I hope that answers your question that I wanted to talk about that.
So something to add.
I don't know how Broward handles, Miami-Dade County is home rule charter, so we have much greater power than other counties. That was done. We have the same control that Tallahassee cannot put over us, even though they try, but it's a different rule. No, no worries. You're required you can't, because under the Florida Realtors Association, you have to disclose that you are in a lake belt. I don't know if you know that, but there's a document that you sign at closing, and most people just check it like this, like they do when they buy a car, or when they get married, they just sign the paper. They don't know who they're marrying.
The blasting
So the
region.
bottom line is, you are signing a paper that you acknowledge that you live in a lake belt mining area that is going to cause, it says it, damage to your home, damage to the foundation, cracks to your structure.
Sorry to interrupt. Thank you. We appreciate it. And thank you for your service. There's so many people that want to speak.
Okay.
So
but-
let's allow them. You've
No,
had 10
okay, but-
minutes,
but
15
but
minutes.
Councilman Garcia, quick question.
Okay, we're going to
Councilman
continue.
Garcia, he was asking me a
And
question.
we're-
I was
yeah,
answering it.
definitely. Why don't you speak offline for a second?
Okay, but he was asking a question for everybody that I think is
Absolutely. I
important.
understand that,
But
but there's
if
many
you-
people
but if
waiting in
you-
line.
But I have a question, Mr. Garcia, and I think I'm making you uncomfortable with my position.
Not at all.
But are you still a member of this committee, or are you a council member? Because we're on a committee time right now. Thank you for your time, everybody. This is
Thank
the
you, sir.
problem.
All right. Yes, I'm very rude. We passed a resolution on Tuesday, which actually I brought up, and all the council members, they co-sponsored to lower the blasting levels to support the board, to support the residents. More things are happening now than ever. And I understand you're frustrated. I'm frustrated too. My family's frustrated too. But these people right here and the council are doing everything possible. To say we've done nothing, to say nothing's going to happen. See, I'm a more positive person. I don't believe in that. So what we're going to do is we're going to give it back. We're going to ask you again, sir, you cannot monopolize this. We understand your position. Other people have questions, so we're going to allow them to speak. You can answer outside after. You've had your choice. You've had your speak. So Miguel, go ahead. Thank you.
Well, hold on. I just want to add, and I'll go ahead and get it to you. Yeah. No, we are. I just want to add that as a board, we've been discussing about the county multiple times. We've discussed it multiple times in our meetings, multiple times in our minutes. We have been trying to get time in front of the county commission. We have been trying that. We understand that there is chapter 13 that has some supervision over blasting, but it is primarily a state regulated issue pursuant to Florida statute. We're trying everything. We're trying to get to Commissioner Garcia. We're trying to get to mayors. We're trying to get to Tallahassee. We're going to try to think. I was in Lieutenant Governor Nunez's office when I was in Tallahassee, speaking to one of her deputy chief of staff, informing her what was going on. She had no idea about blasting and the issues here. So we're using every single possible way.
To President Biden, but look for the record, and he was talking with him April 10th, I believe, 2021, a year and a half ago, about this issue. Nothing's been done. And he started with Obama, he did a year before, got in, and I can show you.
Do you understand what that letter was about, sir? Do you understand what the letter was about? But the source of the basis of the letter, put it that way. Do you understand what it was about? Yes, I helped pen the letter. The letter is based on the Army Corps of Engineers. that approved the Lake Belt. It was in the Obama term of time. And Biden was then the vice president, obviously, and was familiar with the creation of the Lake Belt. That's where this comes from. So it's referring back to something that he was involved in X years ago. And that's where the creation of the letter came from. There wasn't a response, there's no response here today from this. We're seeing a pattern. I think that's the point.
Hey, guys and gal, Charlie Kavarkas. I actually live in unincorporated Dade. I'm just west of PSN and east of I-75. Something you mentioned earlier, Mike, piqued my curiosity with respect to Vulcan and who are the other ones, Titan, I guess, that are blasting below the limits. Curious about their location and their mining practices. Are they anything similar to what White Rock is doing?
That's what
in
we
the
wanted.
Lake
We wanted to get from them.
Okay.
They are in a more centrally located in the community. You know, there's
Are
houses
they
around them.
south? Are they near Doral? Are they
They're
adjacent to these guys?
I believe it's towards Kendall is I think the location.
Kendall. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So that says that. Another thing too, the reports that are coming back from Jessica and the other lady, Mona Wood. Great stuff. That is the information that is that's third party. That's the company that's been contracted to provide those. Are they still required to file their reports?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Is there any comparison being done actively between what they're submitting versus what we're recording?
Yes, we're receiving I get from the public. I know you have sent me yourself.
Right.
When you do public records requests, you can obtain those reports.
Okay, so that's
And-
still being tabulated separately.
Correct.
They don't publish those publicly, but you can make those.
Yes.
You can
yes.
make that request. Okay. And I'm sure somebody back there is doing and matching up what the
Correct.
pilot program is detecting versus what they're actually
Correct.
recording. Okay. Thanks.
I was going to stand up because I'm going to talk to look at you as well as you guys. My name is Lisa Pittman. I live in Miramar in Nautica. But I just retired from teaching 30 years in Miami-Dade County. So I feel very involved with Miami. And I thought that not only was I a teacher, but I was a grant writer at the University of Miami. And I was a science teacher. That's about the environmental part. What I learned as a grant writer, which I know you know this, is that if you don't show a value to the people you're trying to either get money from or politicians, if you cannot show a value to them, then you are not going to be as successful if there is a way to show a value to them. First off, I really believe in everything you said. I don't think I'm being negative, but I think I'm being realistic in that there is dark money going to these politicians. They are getting this money to further things that are maybe not in our best interest. You probably have already thought of this idea, but I wanted to pass it on. I have been, and this is just as a regular citizen, I hear about the problems with insurance that we're having. All the insurance people want to leave. If somehow you can say, not only do we have to worry about the natural disasters of all these hurricanes coming, we have a very substantial amount of people whose houses are losing value. The insurance companies are not going to want to cover them. Now, I worry about this with the complaints. If we put in this complaint, then the insurance company is going to say, hey, not only do we have to worry about natural disasters, but we now have to worry about this happening. But I think legislators are worried about our insurers moving out of Florida. And maybe if you could also poise this as something as important to them as far as keeping insurers in the state of Florida. That's all I wanted to add.
So it's funny, I actually brought that idea up a few meetings ago. And the problem that we have is almost every single homeowner's insurance policy in Florida has a seismic activity exclusion. So if your house is damaged as a result of seismic activity, it is not covered.
Oh.
You're on your own. And on top of that, now you're bringing in the other gigantic industry and lobbyist dirty money
Yes,
industry
that's-
in Florida, the
Okay.
insurance industry.
I just thought maybe
So-
that
so-
would be
but,
something
yeah,
they're
no,
worried about.
I know that is the exact idea I had, but unfortunately, we discussed it. We were like, no, there's too many things that are against us on that one. And really the only thing you're doing is awaken another sleeping giant in there.
So I had one more thing, and that is, I do remember signing the paper 23 years ago when I moved into Nautica. I just thought that the blasting wouldn't go this long. I mean, it didn't say how long. Do these companies have a lease on the land to continue in perpetuity?
Yes.
Or do they have to be renewed? What is it?
They-
Oh, so
they-
they do have it forever.
It's typically, it depending on the owner of the property. Sometimes it's the state or the county, depends where it is. They do have leases on the property. It can be from 20 years or 99 years, they're saying, and it basically gets renewed. I mean, it's nice money, whoever the landlord is. Some properties, they do own them. And they actually, as a matter of fact, the White Rock owned a property off 41st Street. And after they finished the excavation, they moved on. The pit that remained, they sold it to Miami-Dade County Water and Sewer to dispose of their waste product from the water filtration system. So it's a dump site. Yes.
Thank you so much.
Can I take on the mic?
Those are excluded from natural disasters such as earthquakes, et cetera. This is not natural.
Seismic. They just call it out as
Okay,
seismic.
but, that's why, tough going against insurance companies. Matter of fact, if I may say so, Morgan and Morgan, I'm sure you heard of those guys. They came to us. Are you aware of that?
That
They
they-
came to us.
Sure.
And it was a loss. Yes, you're correct. And it was a lost cause. They said, well, we don't do third party action and all that, but they tried and they spent a lot of money. They spent a lot of money out here and it was unsuccessful. The bottom line, I think we should go after the state and we should have a class action suit against the miners.
Unfortunately,
done.
a straight class action is not permitted.
Okay.
They banned it. A class action is not permitted to the miners.
They're just gonna have to change it. They're just gonna have to change it. They're just gonna have to change it.
That's a good question.
In the meantime, this is a long-term thing, and I'd love for you to come to our home in Loch Lomond and take a look at the damage caused by those guys, okay? It's great speaking about all this stuff legally and politically and all the comments, and this is all great. But let me tell you something, the problem is still there, and it's gonna be there for the long term. And I'm angry, and I'm very disappointed. Okay? I just want to let you know. Not you, I know you're trying to do your job, but we're.
It's not a
jumping through
job.
hoops, And it's a long, it's a long-term effort. It's been a long term.
It's not a job, first of all. We're volunteers.
I understand.
And let's be clear.
Personally, if anybody on the panel had sustained any damage, anybody on the panel?
Have we sustained damages?
Yes.
Significantly? Yes. Yes.
I mean, I've seen it on my own house. You can talk plenty about it, but let's get some people.
Hi, guys. I don't know if you guys mentioned or not. Do you guys have a reply of this company that didn't come in? Why it didn't show up? Did any of them
They
reply?
decided not to participate.
I think that says a lot.
We invited every single mine in Miami-Dade County.
Papers back here, newspapers here.
Brandon Diaz. I want to thank the office of Mayor Levin Cava for being here, as well as Commissioner Rene Garcia. I saw his representative here earlier. Obviously, thanking our manager, Ed Peterman, for being here, and our council members, Ray Garcia and Councilman Mariner Ruano. I believe the mayor and the rest of the council members should have been here tonight as well. I noticed December 28th of last year, White Rock Quarries met with the Miami-Dade delegation. I'm not sure if you guys saw that on social media. So they obviously had time to meet with the Dade delegation. And if you guys notice, none of our state reps and our state senators from this district were there. So was the Dade delegation invited to this meeting? Just as a quick question, were they invited as a whole delegation or no?
I do not know.
Okay. Okay.
They were invited by Rudy.
No, to the miners. So out of curiosity, I saw the video, Miguel, and I'm sorry, I forgot your name, with Rudy, with the mayor of Doral, with the new mall that's planned to go up west of Doral. has, I don't know, I haven't kept up with the news on that. I don't know if maybe they're an asset in this, because I mean, I would imagine they'd be affected, being so, in close proximity to the mines. Has that,
You're talking about the mega mall?
yes,
The mega mall, the owner of that complex from 555, I think is the name of the company, Hungarian fellow, gave his word that he would not break ground until Dade County was able to secure the infrastructure needed for that mall. So the impact that it does on the community would be done. And so that's why you're seeing the turnpike, the expansion of the turnpike, the new exits that are happening, all that is part of that master plan. I actually spoke to 555 and asked them, because I was advised that they had pulled out. And from the company, they said, no, we did not pull out. The plans are now being submitted and approved. This was a year ago, and we will be building. However, the project was delayed because of everything of the infrastructure and then of COVID, because this actually was pre-COVID. So to my knowledge, it's going forward.
But just to, I don't think the actual question was answered, or really the comment. I agree with you. In my opinion, if that thing is built, they would be an ally. It is their property that would be one of the closest properties to the mining activities. So they would not want their indoor ski thing getting cracked and falling over. So I do think that they would be an ally. I think that was the question or the comment.
I guess the two-part, I apologize, yes. And you can imagine that swimming pool having a leak.
Anybody else?
Any other questions?
Remember, today, this is your home, so you're here to speak. We're getting ideas, and something, good ideas from you guys will make us have better ideas to move forward. The media will be here. Wouldn't it be nice to have the media here? And
They're always invited.
listen, I want to say something. I spent about 5 hours today on and off, and I spoke to every television station today. Channel 4, Channel 6, Channel 7, 23, all of them. And they all confirmed that they would be here. Why? I'm not going to be able to sleep tonight. I've got my own, something is funny.
Also, in the story aired about a year ago.
That was with me. Yes, sir. And I messaged him as well. I messaged him for it. Correct. We do have the Laker is present with the reporter. I thank you. So it is being documented, and we also learned that they do view these videos. So.
Right, if I may ask a question. I know Councilman Garcia that you just mentioned that you that there was a resolution that was passed. It's been passed before in previous years. My question is, do we know of the municipalities that are here, if there are any other resolutions being passed at those levels, and if they are being delivered together to Tallahassee?
At the local level, you mean?
Yes, because if, Doral is being affected, Miramar is being affected, everyone's being affected, well, where's the collaboration? Has anyone had that conversation? Because I think it's a wise one to have, because we can pass all the resolutions. Doesn't matter. There is strength in numbers. Perhaps we want to consider that.
Christy
Just a
Fraga,
suggestion.
the newly elected mayor for Doral, we interviewed with her, and she gave us her word, and she's also viewing online for this evening, that she will be addressing it as well. And we've also been working with Miramar, and we've made numerous presentations to different communities on their side as well. So that's why Patricia's here today.
Has anyone ever tried to make a distinction between the natural seismic activities, which would be an earthquake, and the blasting? I mean, there should be able to be when one is man-made, that should be able to be controlled. The other one, no. So I think there should be some way that they can outlaw blasts of a certain size, period.
I agree with you. The plain language of most insurance contracts simply states seismic activity. The question is, I personally have not done the research into the case law. I don't know if Stephen has or Rudy has, or if there's another attorney that has. But my understanding is that they treat it as one and the same, but it's something that I don't think is a wasted effort. So I'll look into that and bring it up at our next meeting, because I think it is an important distinction.
Something abnormal. Obviously, you can talk about something else being made or man-made. We're not in the size here.
So real quick, I filed a claim in 2016. I had Channel 23. I had the CFO. They all came to my house back then. I was on my driveway when it cracked, when there was a blast. So I tried to file a claim through the insurance company because my insurance policy covered blasts and explosions. And this was a blast or an explosion, but it wasn't, they said it had to have been like a physical blast or explosion, and they didn't cover it. They wanted to give me $100 after like a year of litigation. But what happens in the state of Florida, and why a lot of these attorneys take the cases like Morgan & Morgan, is because it's almost like the attorneys are in a no-fault state where they're going to get paid anyway. That's why 80% of the money that goes as far as claims are concerned, it's all wasted in Florida. 80% of litigation is in Florida out of the entire country. And it's because all attorneys will take it because they're going to get paid anyway. So we have to, be a little bit more diligent.
In your case, they said that basically you have to put a bomb in your own home. Right. Come on.
Now, what if your neighbor, loud enough, what if your neighbor happened to be approximately a mile away and let out a really big blast, such that over there, it was a really big blast, but I like to do a little bit more stone blast, it's still out there. I can go on about this all day.
We all can.
I'm one of those lawyers that hates lawyers, so like, yeah.
Speaking like a true lawyer. All right. Any other questions then? We're trying to help. We're trying to be proactive and for the community.
Well, this is not a question, but it is a comment. It was a very difficult thing to try to communicate on your behalf and make sure that everyone became aware that this meeting was taking place. We have tried to help tremendously through LinkedIn, through every single means that we have. We sent emails to the commissioners and everyone else, but it is absolutely difficult to take that someone, in particular, a former chief of fire, actually be silenced in the middle of what he's speaking, just because whatever it is he was saying was not appreciated. So Councilman, that was just something that really has hurt us. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah, no worries. All right, so I want to thank everybody. We have proposed, hopefully, that the city or the town responds favorably, that we will be going again to Tallahassee to continue lobbying on our behalf. It made a difference last time. Surprisingly, it was an incredible experience and a surprise effect that we left there, and we hope to piggyback on where we were at to continue even further. So again, I wanted to thank you guys, and we need to continue to work in unison on this one. This isn't going away. It's not going to be a simple thing that just we wave the magic wand and we're fixed. This is a process. As we've always saying, it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. We need everybody's help. So thank you.